We all have friends that found themselves in various predicaments throughout our life. And you can look at somebody, and even if you take issue with their choices and what they've done, you can still sit up there and look at them and say they're a friend.
Because Stephen A., he didn't stand with Shannon Sharpe like he stood with Jay-Z. When he heard about Jay-Z, he said, the guy I know, this is not true. When it came to Shannon, he was like, I wasn't there.
My date your age. Well, I want to date my wage. I'm finna shut all this ish down tonight.
The whole thing with Shannon Sharpe is actually crazy, because how are you even entertaining the conversation after put a big black baby in me? Put a big black baby in me? It's honestly giving that you just have like some sort of racist fetish. Like, you know how when people get with different races and they just play, you know, slave and owner. That's what it's giving when I was reading those text messages. Because what you mean 25,000 a cheat?
Couple up, because the bromance between Shannon Sharpe and Stephen A. Smith has officially gone up in flames. Yep, Shannon is done, completely cutting off his former friend and colleague Stephen A. after a betrayal so messy, even reality TV producers are watching this unfold like it's season 6 of Real Housewives of ESPN. And trust me, it's a whole scandal. So here's what really went down. Remember when that lawsuit against Shannon Sharpe hit the streets? Before anyone could even catch their breath, Stephen A. was already out here running his mouth, dropping shady subliminals left and right, like, sir, can you let the dust settle first? He practically announced Shannon's ESPN exit before ESPN even blinked. People were side-eyeing Stephen R.D. like, why are you talking about this man in past tense already? The disrespect was real. But here's the kicker. Now that the backlash is hitting like a freight train, Stephen A. is backpedaling faster than a kid caught cheating on a test. Suddenly, he's team Shannon is innocent, acting like he's been riding with him since day one. We're not buying it. And guess what? Neither is Shannon. Word on the street is he's ghosting Stephen A.'s texts, calls, everything. Like, blocked. Even celebs like Mace jumped into the mix, calling Stephen A. flip-flopper and a straight-up snake. And let's be honest, it's looking accurate. So did Stephen A. just bury his own ESPN friendship for clout? Let's unpack this drama, because it is hotter than the July sun.
You ain't gonna see me excoriating him. You ain't gonna see me disrespecting him. You're not gonna see me stripping him of my support. I can tell you what I think you right and you wrong about.
Allegedly, Shannon didn't just cut ties with Stephen A. on screen. He's erasing him from his entire life. Behind closed doors, sources say Shannon feels betrayed, and not a little bit, deeply, soul-crushingly betrayed. Like, rip up the friendship photo and throw the frame out the window level of betrayal. And the timing? Horrible. Shannon's already knee-deep in legal trouble after an OnlyFans model, who was just 19 at the time, came forward with some serious allegations. And while Stephen A. is now screaming support from the rooftops, he was the first one to drag Shannon publicly when it all hit. That shade was loud and clear. Even worse, insiders are whispering that Stephen A.'s always been low-key jealous, especially after Shannon's club Shay Shay exploded with those viral interviews, "Hello, Cat Williams?" Shannon's glow-up was unmatched, and apparently Stephen couldn't handle it. As Shannon's fame soared outside ESPN, Stephen's vibe allegedly shifted. Jealousy is a disease, and Stephen A. might be patient zero. Now that Stephen's flip-flopping and trying to act like a loyal ride or die, Shannon's not having it. He's done, like never speaking to you again, done.
It's a sad situation. Shannon Sharpe is somebody I work with a couple of days a week. Shannon Sharpe is somebody that I brought to ESPN. To be clear, even though this podcast, this YouTube show is owned and operated by me solely, it doesn't mean that I'm going to be dismissive of ESPN, who employs me in my daytime job on First Take. So I sit here before you today letting you know that they are aware that this is a subject that I was going to broach, because I owe them that courtesy. I am the executive producer of First Take on ESPN. I recruited Shannon. I went and got him and brought him to ESPN. But I'm not the boss. Those are other folks. There are layers to this, and there are certain layers even I am not on. I can tell you, I also spoke as co-chairman of Disney, the boss, Jimmy Pitaro, who made it very, very clear we are taking this matter very seriously. And we are looking into this very, very closely. In my perfect world, he moves on. And somehow, some way, we find this all to be false. But it doesn't seem like that's the way things are about to go down, considering who Mr. Busby is and how emphatic his client is proclaiming that she is right and she's telling the truth. I have no idea what direction ESPN and Walt Disney will go in when it comes to this matter. All I do know is it won't be me making the decision. It'll be others upstairs. In the end, all of us have someone to answer to. No matter how maverick we try to be, and we own our own business, and we're our sole proprietors like I am on this platform and stuff like that. There are advertisers, there are sponsors, there are people you do business with, there are partners, and there are bosses. That's the situation, unfortunately, that Shannon Sharpe finds himself in.
But oh, Stephen didn't just stop at one shady comment. After it was announced that Shannon was stepping away from ESPN, Stephen A. doubled down on his company man image. He kept stressing how Disney doesn't play when it comes to their image. How once they see you as a problem, you're out. He talked like he was reciting the company handbook, like, bro, we get it. You're trying to stay in Mickey Mouse's good books, but dragging your supposed friend while doing it, that's ice cold. The way he framed it made it sound like Shannon was already tossed in the ESPN trash can. Not a supportive peep in sight. And then came the self-praise parades.
This three-time Super Bowl champion and this Hall of Famer, who emphatically stated to me over the phone how innocent he is of these allegations that have been levied against him, insisting repeatedly that anything you read, anything you see, anything you hear was fully and totally consensual. In the same breath, what's inescapable is that without us knowing all the merits, he was working with Disney, where I've worked since 2003, excluding my departure from 2009 to 2011, when I was gone for those 2 years. Outside of that, I've been at Disney since October of 2003. I know this place. I know the worldwide leader that is ESPN, who's under the umbrella of Disney. And it wasn't difficult for me to figure out what was transpiring. They didn't need any definitive evidence at this particular moment in time about all of that stuff. Once all the things Shannon Sharpe's lawyer put out there, it was uncomfortable to listen to. And it was not something that Walt Disney wants associated with its brand. So to have him on the airwaves while all of that stuff was put out there was not something that Disney was going to take. That is what I mean when I say I'm not surprised.
Stephen started throwing subtle shade about Shannon's recklessness at his age, talking about how he, Stephen A., was too smart to ever be in that situation. Like, sit down, sir. This isn't about you. Why use your friend's downfall as a mirror to admire yourself in? It was giving ego overload, not concern. He even turned it into a moment to pat himself on the back. Meanwhile, Shannon's out here trying to figure out how to salvage his career and reputation.
A lot of people want to walk around thinking you can do what you want to do when you want to do it. You could your own operation. You don't have to answer to anybody. That's not true. I've had people open their mouth And they've said, Stephen A., you work for ESPN. What kind of control do you really have? This is my podcast. This is my YouTube show. I own this. But if you think for 1 second that I could just do what I want to do, when I want to do it, how I want to do it, and there's not going to be any repercussions, you're clueless. And you're destined to fail and fall on your face. Some people sit up there and they look at me and they say, Stephen A. don't get himself in this kind of trouble. How does he pull it off? Well, first of all, there's certain behaviors and proclivities that you never have to worry about me engaging in. But most importantly than that, I often say this about Walt Disney. I'd rather work for a place with standards than one looking for them.
And then boom, the whole internet flipped on Stephen A. Fans, celebs, everyone. Even Mace straight up called him out for being fake. Like, how are you gonna trash your bro and then suddenly spin around and defend him like none of us have internet access? Now Stephen's singing a brand new tune. I believe in Shannon's innocence, he says. Duh, you didn't believe that when the camera was rolling last week. And fans weren't shy about pointing out the hypocrisy, especially considering how fast Stephen A. was to defend Jay-Z during his drama. Like, where was all that passion and urgency for Shannon?
Jay-Z and Sean Diddy Combs, a 13-year-old girl more than 20 years ago, after an award show after party. I am not going to sit here and dismiss or excoriate Mr. Busby or his client, who's anonymous at this particular moment in time, in the allegations that she has leveled against Jay-Z. I'm telling you, I've known this man for 25 years. And I'm saying, for me, Stephen A. Smith, there is no way in hell I believe this about him. Anybody that's been around Jay-Z and knows him has seen him come to the defense of the most helpless amongst us, which are the children. I can't believe for 1 second that he would ever be associated with an allegation like this. And I felt it was important to bring that up because you've got people out there. Stephen A., you have something to say about Diddy. Why aren't you gonna have something to say about Jay-Z? Well, I don't know Diddy.
People noticed. Oh, they noticed. When the accusations hit Jay-Z, Stephen A. ran to the front lines to protect his boy. But when Shannon needed support, crickets. Then shade, then a weird monologue about Disney. The math ain't mathing, Stephen. Mace was like, hold up, how did Shannon not even know the full Jay-Z story but still defended him? And Stephen can't do the same for his own friend. It's giving double standards, it's giving fake friend energy.
All I saw really was the interview with Stephen A. when he was speaking of it. And I was watching it very carefully, Killer.
Stephen A. said something about this already?
Yeah, because Stephen A., he didn't stand with Shannon Sharpe like he stood with Jay-Z. When he heard about Jay-Z, he said, the guy I know, this is not true. When it came to Shannon, he was like, I wasn't there.
Yo,
in a nutshell, yeah.
I gotta keep it in static, you know what I'm saying? Because he wasn't there for Jay-Z neither. You wasn't there for Jay-Z. You were not there for Jay-Z, but you went out on a limb because of the character of guy you know. So I'm not saying that you're wrong for that. I'm saying I would have thought that the same standard would be there, right? If for a guy you work with every day.
But here's where it gets juicy. After Mace podcast dragged Stephen A. into the mud, guess what? Stephen A. magically switched gears. He hit up Big Boy's show and started talking about how Shannon's being set up, and people have always been jealous since his podcast blew up. Wow, convenient timing. Stephen A. even tried to spin it like he's been loyal all along, but fans weren't having it. One fan said it best, Stephen's halfway in, halfway out loyalty in Shannon's case is wild. It's borderline diabolical. And yeah, they nailed it. Someone else added, the energy he had for Jay-Z was strong, but when it came to Shannon, it's like he already knew ESPN was about to fire him. No lies detected. And now people are questioning Stephen's motives. Is he really trying to help or just trying to save his own reputation from going down with Shannon? And to make things worse, Shannon's no innocent poppy either.
Right, and once you've reached a certain stature, it's like the old folks always used to tell you, boy, don't let that money go to your head. Right, and now, a lot of times people just are who they are. And you're looking at Shannon, his brand has never really been anything that said he might not be into some of the things that we're learning, right? You could go back to the IG Live, or you could listen to some of the things that he promotes as sponsors of his show, or just certain ways he talks about women during nightcap or whatever it is, right? Like, Unc ain't never hid that.
Turns out Shannon's got skeletons, lots of them. And now they're all tumbling out of the closet like it's Halloween night. Charleston White even said it plain. Stop saying Shannon was set up. He set himself up, messing with girls young enough to be his granddaughter. Yikes. And the accusations? They just keep getting darker. Charleston White didn't sugarcoat it, and honestly, someone needed to say it, because Shannon wasn't just casually dating someone younger. This OnlyFans model was 19. That's teenager territory, the kind of age where you're still figuring out how taxes work. And Shannon, at 54, was out here playing boyfriend? It's not sitting right with people, and now even more receipts are surfacing. Turns out Shannon's history with women is darker than anyone realized. Buckle up, because what comes next is jaw-dropping.
Sounds like a setup, but if you sit back and look at the overall situation, you say this ain't no setup. This is a who been in the lead and been amongst elite blacks and white people for most of his life. He live in a white community. He been around white people for over 30 years. Boy got a thing for white. He like young white. He really want a 17-year-old, but he can't. He's an 18-year-old, 20-year-old. So here it is, he at the gym, working out. He's showing up at the gym with them big old black legs, that big old print showing in them sweatpants, squatting, sweating out his ass with them big old muscles. Now here it is, this little white girl over there on the treadmill. They making eye contact. Who set that up? Who put her there? Who put him there? And who knew they was gonna be attracted to each other to start? Who set that up? Now, if you watch his interview and you sit back and listen to him and Ocho Cinco talk, and he talk about what he do and what he don't do, well, you see he a weenie with the women. He really mean to them. You see that, man, I don't do this, I don't do, nah, man, you mean to women. You ain't no Matt, you don't even know how to sweet talk women. So you see, he really a weenie to women. He just got a big old black with the big old muscle. But he's not a charming man. You see, man, he mean, authoritative, and he regimented. No, he's not appealing. So the white girl just playing off the big black. He ain't handsome. He ain't the handsomest big black in the world, and he look like a gorilla. Big black gorilla, silverback. And he mean. So she figures she getting this big black, but in the process of getting this big old black, he mean. I'm gonna choke you when I see you, man. Man, that's all. Yeah, this is baby. You trying to. So she don't want to be treated like a grown woman. She just wants this big old black and let her be irresponsible. He trying to make her responsible and all that other. So now ain't nobody set that up, man.
Let's talk about that viral moment on Nightcap. April 30th episode. Shannon sitting with Chad Okocinco-Johnson and guest Joe Johnson, just casually talking about the 2025 NFL draft, right? Out of nowhere, Shannon turns off camera and snaps, "Shut the F up." Everyone was like, what? You could feel the tension. That clip went viral immediately, with fans saying Shannon looked unhinged. Emotional instability, anger issues. That's what people are whispering now. And it's not helping his image one bit. But that wasn't even the worst of it. Back in 2010, a woman named Michelle Evans, Shannon's ex-girlfriend of nearly 10 years, filed a chilling lawsuit. And when I say chilling, I mean the kind that stops you mid-scroll. She accused Shannon of cheating. Yes, you read that right. According to Michelle, the whole thing went down after she confronted Shannon about cheating, and what allegedly followed is horrifying. Michelle said Shannon forced her into non-consensual acts and threatened to destroy her if she ever spoke out. She even claimed that he said he'd make it so no other man would want her. The lawsuit described violent coercion, psychological manipulation, and years of fear. And if that's not disturbing enough, Shannon was working at CBS Sports when this happened. Michelle got a restraining order against him. She told the courts Shannon was watching her, calling her, threatening her life. even putting her under surveillance. And yet, somehow, all of this got swept under the rug. Shannon's career kept soaring. CBS, ESPN, nobody blinked. Now Michelle's back. And she's suing again, this time for defamation. Why? Because she says Shannon brought their past up publicly and reopened wounds that caused her massive emotional distress. And she's not alone anymore. Michelle is now publicly supporting Gabriela Zuniga, the OnlyFans model, suing Shannon now. And she's going in hard, saying Shannon intentionally exposed Gabriela's name and OnlyFans account just to silence her. She told the U.S. Sun, what Shannon did to this woman was horrifying. Doxing her, putting her name and content out like that, things are going to happen to her because of that. And that's not just an opinion, that's a warning. The type that makes your stomach drop? So now, fans who were once Team Shannon are rethinking everything. This isn't just about Stephen A. being shady anymore. This is about Shannon's entire past unraveling right in front of us. And sports media is starting to turn on him too. Former NFL player and ESPN analyst Ryan Clark came forward and basically said, none of this is surprising. According to him, Shannon's public persona has always masked a darker side. And now that the cracks are showing, it all adds up. It's starting to feel like Shannon was never the polished, charismatic good guy we saw on screen. It's giving double life. It's giving facade. And honestly, it's scary. At this point, people aren't feeling sorry for Shannon at all. Like, yeah, false accusations exist, but this pattern, this history, these women, it's just too much. And let's not forget, he chose this. He chose to date a teenager. He chose to put her on blast. He chose to drag Michelle into the spotlight again. Now he's facing the consequences. And the public isn't rushing to hold his hand through it. Meanwhile, guess who's still talking? Stephen A. Smith. Yup. Even after getting dragged for being a fake friend, Stephen is still bringing up Shannon every chance he gets. Like, can someone take this man's mic away already? Fans are livid. They're saying Stephen is secretly enjoying Shannon's downfall, that he's not commenting to help, he's commenting to clout chase. Like he wants to remind people, hey, I warned y'all, Disney doesn't play. One fan tweeted, Stephen A. is the kind of guy who tells your boss you were late just to take your job, natural-born snake. And honestly, it's a scalding take, but it's not wrong. Someone else wrote, if Stephen A. really wants to help Shannon, the best thing he can do is shut up. All this talking is just pouring gasoline on the fire. Because let's be real, if Stephen A. really loved Shannon like he claims, he would have protected him with silence, not performative empathy followed by a half-hour ESPN monologue. And the hypocrisy? It's blinding. Because remember, this is the same Stephen A. who went all in defending Jay-Z without knowing all the facts. But for Shannon, he suddenly became a PR liability. What makes it even messier is that Stephen's defense of Shannon came after the backlash, after Mace called him out, after fans dragged him online. It wasn't genuine, it was reactive. It screamed damage control, not loyalty. Now fans are saying this whole thing proves what kind of friend Stephen A. really is. The kind who smiles in your face, but switches up the moment things get messy. And the kind who only defends you when it benefits him. And Shannon? He's seeing it too. That's why the phones are silent. That's why the texts are unread. That's why the ESPN brotherhood is over. This isn't just a falling out. This is a full-blown celebrity friendship collapse. Two of the biggest voices in sports, now enemies. And the whole internet is eating it up. Because when fame fades and scandal hits, you learn who your real friends are. And for Shannon Sharpe, Stephen A. Smith ain't one of them. So now we have to ask, was Mace right? Did Stephen A. show his true colors, and should we really be shocked given how quick he is to chase headlines? Or is Shannon Sharpe's past finally catching up to him, and Stephen A. is just a mirror reflecting the truth we've been ignoring? Either way, it's messy, it's emotional, and it's only getting worse. So what do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments because this drama isn't going anywhere. And honey, the way it's unfolding, we're gonna need popcorn for the next episode.